So there are some people who are defending Will Smith's actions at the Oscars when he went on stage and smacked Chris Rock for making a joke about his wife, Jada Pinkett Smith, who is suffering from alopecia. A lot of the defense are along the lines of,
he's defending his wife's honor. The joke was wrong and insensitive. Chris Rock targets black women in a lot of his jokes.
I don't think many people are against Will Smith wanting to protect his wife. Many men have been put into positions where they had to protect the woman they love. A husband wanting to protect his wife is an admirable thing, so there's no question there. But Jada's life didn't appear to be a threat by that joke. Will Smith probably could have stepped to Chris Rock backstage and talked to him, or perhaps addressed the situation in a different way. And would you looky here, seems like Will Smith would agree based on this old clip.
Hey, check this out. Here's the situation. Say you out with your boyfriend, your girlfriend. You know, you're at school, you at a club or something, getting busy. All right, you just having fun. Somebody steps up to you and they tell you they want to rumble. All right, now just stop for a second. Before you lose your head, get all crazy and toss your hands up, just think. The person that uses their head can always defeat the person that's just trying to use their hands. Now remember that.
Oh, wow. Wow.
And for Chris Rock, it's unclear if he knew about Jada's condition. And I'll agree that if his work consistently attacks black women or any group to the point where it seems like he has an outright problem with this demographic, then it should be up for scrutiny. But the key focus here is Will Smith's actions. So let us paint a little picture. Why don't we? Alright, so let's say Will Smith wasn't Will Smith in this situation, but instead was a guy that wasn't an actor that many have come to love for almost the last 30 years. That he wasn't the Fresh Prince or a man who starred in a bunch of classic films. Let's say that he was still an up-and-coming actor who also had a wife and a family that he had to take care of. He has the financial responsibility of his family. He finally gets his big break and ends up at the Oscars. Again, this isn't Will Smith, but a guy no one really knows like that, doesn't have as many Hollywood connections, and just starting out. So he's there with his wife, and like Jada, she suffers from a condition. Remember, this is his big break, his first role to get him at the Oscars, and he's notable by just enough for him to get some recognition. Chris Rock is on the stage, says the same joke, and he goes up there and he slaps him. Now, would the reaction have been the same? Of course, this is uncertain because it's a hypothetical. But let's say there are repercussions and that he has everything stripped from him. He loses his connections and he's banned from Hollywood, and his career is over because no director wants to work with him. He's not a multi-millionaire like Will Smith, and now he's not able to bring home the millions that he would have made for his family. Would some people still feel like he made the right decision, knowing what he had on the line, that he didn't have that safety cushion? Let's take Hollywood out of it. Let's say he's a guy who works a 9 to 5 somewhere and he still has a wife and family. Somewhere, somehow, someone makes a comment about the guy's wife. Only a comment, nothing physical, and the guy retaliates and attacks the person who made the comment. And he gets arrested, and if he doesn't end up in prison, he just ends up in the system somehow. If he ends up looking for work, now he has something on his record and he's finding difficulty finding a job. And because of this, he's struggling to provide for his family. Now, let's say if this guy was black. There's a lot of talking points that I hear regarding black men and their responsibility to build a community. The black community makes up about 13% of this country's population, with inequality being something that the black community faces. For things to get done, it seems being strategic and involved in politics is the best way to go. The majority of black businesses have only one employee, and that's the owner themselves. And if black business is the answer, and let's say something like making our own award show is the answer and things like that, I'm not sure if more black men being arrested is what the black community can afford right now. This isn't about being docile or passive. Again, black men being taken out the community does not help the black community grow. The same people that complain about black men not building would be the same people to complain about black men going to jail. Black men already have to deal with racial bias when it comes to police. On top of that, violent crimes are already one of the leading causes of arrest when it comes to black males. And for such a small percentage of the country's population, black men make up a high percentage of those in prison. I actually seen somewhere a person implying that black people saying Will Smith is wrong for his actions just wanted him to be on his best behavior for white people. If this was the case and Will didn't care what the white man thinks, then why be at an award show full of predominantly white actors and probably ran by a predominantly white staff? A few years ago, Will and Jada boycotted the Oscars because they felt black actors weren't being recognized. So why show up to the award show again? And then why apologize to the Academy if you had to defend your wife at all costs and you're unapologetically black? The Oscars is seen as a extremely notable and huge ceremony for actors at this point. So these disputes on what black actors should recognize seems pointless because they keep going to the Oscars. And I don't really find a problem with it at this point. Will Smith and Chris Rock just happen to be at the center of all of this, and they happen to be black. I don't think the racial component in the case of these two actors is really an issue. And I'll give the Academy Awards credit and say many of them probably aren't looking at it this way either. I'm sure many of the white actors aren't looking at it in a racial way either. I'm sure they're not thinking,
look at him. That's why you can't invite black people anywhere.
And that's because Will Smith and Chris Rock are both great and respected entertainers, and they're already established. But that's not to say that the racial component isn't there. You see, there's always these complaints about black people not getting fair recognition at the Oscars. So if this is the case, if the up-and-coming actor was black, and again, it wasn't Will Smith that did this, there's yet to be some black award show alternative that black actors have unanimously agreed on. Would it be his best interest to do what Will Smith did? Would it have been seen as the right thing to do? I think there's been a lot of progress, things like Tyler Perry Studios coming about, but it seems like more would be required where black actors, I would imagine, wouldn't have to worry about how they move in Hollywood. And even if this was a black award show, would it still be seen as right? A lot of black directors and connections that an up-and-coming actor had, and so they probably wouldn't want to work with the guy either. So this isn't about whether or not the award show was black or white. It's about whether or not Will Smith's actions were the right thing to do. I feel for Will Smith, and I think he's been a target of years of ridicule, and he's probably been mentally abused from many around him. Seems like a genuinely nice guy who just caved in under pressure. Still, I think what makes this whole thing difficult to believe is that he's Will Smith. He's like the last person many would have thought would go on stage and attack someone. And going up there, Chris Rock probably thought he was coming up to give him a hug. Probably thought that was the last thing that would have happened because many would not expect that from a guy like Will Smith. Allegedly, Will was asked to leave, but he didn't. Again, I think him being who he was caused confusion in that auditorium and to many watching, and what should be done at that very moment was confusing. Let's say, what if it was a white actor who went up on that stage and slapped Chris Rock? Would the defense be the same? If Will Smith wasn't who he was, a lot of this probably would have been different. Chris Rock apparently didn't press charges, but there are talks of Will Smith possibly losing his Oscar and facing repercussions for his actions like expulsion from the Academy. But Will Smith's name, I'd imagine, holds weight, and what might happen seems unclear. Anyways, that's it for now. If you can, please hit the like and subscribe button. I'm out.